Hey, guys, out to these Pells here, your voice manager. I am excited about this episode because when it comes to financial planning, I think a lot of times we forget that we have to go back to the root of it. What's your relationship with money?
Ouch.
And that part, oh, it hurts. But the reality is, a lot of people have a very bad relationship with money, meaning when we were growing up, we didn't know how to handle it, or we didn't find out what it really took to get it, or keep it, or how to invest it. Like all of these wonderful things that we're kind of falling into the path of when it comes to being that whole adulting thing. Uh, it's taken us well beyond us getting a quarter to go get a bag of chips, or us saving up some money so that way we could go to the movies with some friends. And I think even right now, in the midst of everything we've gone through with how our finances have really been shifted between the first and second quarter of 2020, man, we need to talk. We need to talk. So with that being said, I'm excited because I have a special guest. Hello, Jackie. How are you?
Hello. So nice to see you and meet you.
I am.
Looking forward to this.
Oh my goodness, this episode is going to be phenomenal. Jackie, let the studio audience know a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into today's topic.
Absolutely. So my name's Jackie Porter. I'm a certified financial planner, which means I am licensed to talk about all areas of finance. I've been doing this for 23 years. I actually call myself a financial confidant. So even though I'm a certified financial planner, what I know, especially talking to women about money, is it's usually a taboo subject. People don't feel comfortable talking about money. And truly, it's almost like when I have conversations with people about money, there's something about sharing your money truths with somebody that means they need to feel like they're in a circle of trust. So they need to feel like all that shame you were talking about, all the blame, and all of the relationship they have with money, when they share that with you, it's sacred. So I call myself a confidant because I acknowledge and recognize the trust that my clients put in me when they tell me their money story and they tell me their money truths and they entrust me with that information. And another piece of being a confidant is they need to know that I actually know what I'm talking about and I walk the walk, right? So I can tell you that I have all the licenses that give me the credibility to talk about people and talk to people about their money. But I also have walked the journey as well as someone who I've been on my own since I was 16, did not come from money. Really and truly, I've had to learn a lot of money lessons the hard way because, like a lot of you out there, I had an immigrant mother who basically taught me how to work hard for money, but never how to make money work for me. So that's something I learned when I entered the financial industry because it was something I was desperately, and I do mean desperately interested in, was getting financial security. And so when I entered the financial industry, I was able to learn everything I could because I really, like I said, I definitely wanted financial security. I spent majority of my teens and early and mid 20s until I was about 27 working 2-3 jobs to live as well as going to school. So I was kind of like the accidental entrepreneur. I was always working. I didn't realize that was going to lead me to this path of becoming an entrepreneur. So by the time I got to when I finally got into the financial industry, somebody introduced me to a woman of color, which that was the biggest unicorn, a woman, and then a woman of color who was in finance, who was actually telling me that money could work for me. That was revolutionary for me because my immigrant mom talked about money, me working hard for money. That's how I was raised. And maybe some of you in your community can relate to that. So it was just like by the time I was 27, I really felt like I was ready to retire because I was working really hard. So I was motivated to learn everything I could about money, build that financial security. And that led me to create my own 7-figure net worth. And I realized how powerful it is to understand how money works. And truly for me, like if I can share that information with women to show them like what the difference is, how powerful understanding how money works and what a difference it can make in your life. Like that's really the mission I'm on today.
Oh my goodness, that takes us right to the first part of this discussion because you said
I,
our money truths. What, understanding our money truths as a culture, as generationally, um,
exactly.
as a nation, there are money truths that we have here that are not the same money truths that are across the world. And with that being said, what would you say is the first way for us to really get a handle on what's my money truth?
Well, I think, we are in this social media generation, right? And one of the things I think that create this money myth is you understand if you understand how if you relate to money based on what you see other people doing with their money, that's going to lead you down a very winding path. Because truthfully, what you see on social media, how you see people living on social media, isn't necessarily their reality. And I can say that as someone who I actually go behind the hood, like the car hood of these people's finances, and see that when you look behind the hood and you see the life they're living on social media, you'll find out really quickly that they don't match. And truthfully, a lot of these people are broke, but they're living that life on television or the life on social media that they want people to, and they also want to believe that they should have. And so I think one of the most crucial things I could talk to your audience about, because you know what, we live in a society that encourages us to buy, encourages us to spend, but be really clear on what you value versus what other people value, because it doesn't have to be the same. You can know what you value, and it could be, I really want financial security right now. Well, you know what? There's such a thing as you have to balance out your priorities. So if you want that, how important is it to have, the latest car, or, how important is it to get your nails done, every few days, so because truthfully, when you take an intimate look at your numbers and you look behind and you get financially naked with yourself, what does your money story reveal? What do you need to know about your own financial circumstances? And what do you truly value? Those are really the crucial questions you can ask yourself.
And I love that you talked about, making money work for you. Unfortunately, when we think about what we're taught in school,
Mhm.
that's not one of the discussions that is had. They don't even teach them how to write out a check anymore because, of course, everybody uses debit cards.
That's
But
right, which is also very dangerous because sometimes debit cards, you don't necessarily have that handle on what you actually have in the bank account. Because what if you have overdraft? You can just keep spending, especially these days, you just basically get your debit card out, beep, beep, the money is gone before you even had a chance to process it, right?
exactly. So making money work for you, uh, I would say it starts at this point, it starts in the home, having that discussion with our children,
That's
showing
right.
them what that is. So, what is the first thing that we would talk about when saying, you know what, we can make money work for us? Let's start here.
Well, I think just that whole, as you said, that conversation with your children. So how you build confidence, the only way you can get out of the dark and get into the light and start having money conversations where you start to eventually become more confident about money is to talk more about money, talk more about what's happening with your money, get familiar with your money, understand how much you earn, understand, how much do they draw out of your salary, or out of your, how much are you paying in taxes, what do you have left after all of that, how much are you spending, after what you spend, what's left over, is there anything, are you actually committed to where your money is going? Because sometimes people will find themselves at Starbucks, and I hate picking on Starbucks, a few times a week, and ching 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 ching, it adds up. The next thing you know, you spent $400 in a month on Starbucks. What if you were able to take that money and put it on some of your real financial priorities, like your debts, or saving for your retirement, and investing and creating that passive stream of income that will have money work for you? So these are some of the things that people have to understand, because for us to get to, well, we can make money work for us, we have to understand what we actually have to work with, right? So what do you have to work with? Like I said, get financially naked with yourself. Understand where your money is going. Know your numbers intimately. And then you can actually start looking at, well, how can I make money work for me? Should I be looking at, like, first of all, you have to look at your numbers and say, is there any money left over after I pay the bills or after I pay for expenses? Because, kind of everybody knows what they spend on the bills, right? What people don't have a good handle on is their discretionary expenses. So how much are you spending on your discretionary expenses? And now, I know in Canada, we're still living through the pandemic. So essential services are really what's open. You can buy things online if you choose, but you have to make that concerted decision to do that. It's not like you can go to restaurants and do all of those things. So in this moment, we have this opportunity because crisis always brings opportunity. So if you had planned, you had said it really beautifully before, what we thought we were going to be doing first quarter and what we're doing now are very different. So this could be a good time to revisit, dust off your budget or create a budget, create a spending plan. I actually love the word spending plan over budget because it's a plan. It's something that you actually are intentionally putting priorities toward. So my spending plan are, what are my financial priorities around where my money is going to go this year and next year, and for some of the things I want to see happen. So if you do this spending plan and you realize, hey, this much money went out to taxes, this much money went out to my bills, I have this much money left over for my spending priorities. Well, what are my real priorities this year? Well, I may, maybe I won't be able to take a vacation, or, maybe I need, I'm gonna have some car trouble because every year I got to spend so much on this old car. Put all those things aside for those things. So maybe I have a wife or husband's birthday I'm gonna have to spend money on, and the kids. Start putting money aside to what your plans are. Don't just let money happen to you or spending happen to you. Intentionally plan out where you actually want your money to go. And then we can start. So if there's money left over after that, we can start looking at ways we can invest that to create this passive income stream for the future. And if there isn't money left over, then what should we be doing? Should we be revisiting where our money is going? Like maybe reduce our spending priorities for the year. Do I have debt that I have to pay off? How do I get rid of that? There's a bunch of different strategies to get rid of debt. I usually would recommend try to get rid of your high interest debt as soon as you possibly can. So if you have money that's going towards, a savings account, not that that's a bad idea, but if you also have all of this high interest debt, keep in mind, we just talked about all the deductions from your paycheck, taxes, the government takes theirs, then bills take some, then you're stuck with the rest, and you have to use that rest to pay for your spending priorities and to pay for some debt. And the more that debt is, the less left over for your spending and savings priorities. So think about that. You need to have a plan to get rid of your debt as soon as you can, especially high interest debt. I'm less worried about mortgage debt. I'm less worried about low interest debt. But if you're paying like 19% over 10% on debt, there's something called the rule of 72. And the rule of 72 says, if you make minimum payments, divide the debt, so the interest rate, by 72. And it'll tell you how long it's going to take you to pay that debt off at minimum payments. So 10%, you're already at 7.2 years. 20%, you're at 14.4 years. So think about that. Do you want to be paying back the debt for 14.4 years? And that's just a 20% credit card, never mind anything else. So plan to pay as little interest as you possibly can. And then, here's the thing. We were talking before about your business owners, people who have careers. Try to create as many streams of income as possible. So are you working full-time somewhere and you have a side hustle? Does your business generate one stream of income? Can you create rental income from your home? Like, look at all, especially because if you have goals that you're passionate about, like, you know what? Don't worry about what other people are doing. Focus on what your priorities are. So don't worry if, that's not what the neighbors are doing. The neighbors, I assure you, are broke because I've seen their balance sheets.
Now with saying that, I want to say, man, it's a journey. It's
Really
a
is.
process, and we learn so much along the way. What has been something that you look back on and you can say that has been one of the life lessons when it comes to financial planning that really like shifted your whole journey for you?
I think losing my mom really early was probably one of the biggest financial lessons that I've learned, which is one of the reasons why I'm all about financial empowerment, especially for women, because hey, I'm biased, but what I realized from becoming suddenly single myself is there's only so many things that you can control, right? You can't control if somebody dies. You cannot control if somebody leaves you and you're on your own. So I wrote a book called Single by Choice or Chance. And that book is about the fact that at the end of the day, we have to be prepared to take control of our own financial future, no matter what happens. And the only way we can do that is to make sure we're okay. And to look at the things we can control. So we can control how much interest we pay if we focus on paying off debt. We can control, one of the we're in this period of uncertainty where for some people the coronavirus might mean they have to pivot their business, right? So at the end of the day, if we create multiple streams of income, it gives us more resilience, right? So that's why we're talking about that. We can control how much we spend. We have more control over that, right? And so it's, what are all the things that we can control? If our business is going in a direction that we didn't plan, then maybe we can control, looking at ways we can either pivot our business in a different direction or get advice on the next step to get us where we need to go. Maybe we can control the advice we get in that area. So it's really, you could become a victim when things happen to you that you don't plan for. Like I said, I've talked to women who they lost their partner at an early age. They didn't know where their money was. They had no control of their finances. They abdicated that responsibility to their partner. And then, they found out that the money was mismanaged. They found out that they were in debt. And all of a sudden there was no insurance. And now they're suddenly single, not living the life that they thought. So get involved in your family's finances. If you're not making that decision, decide that no matter what happens in the future, you're going to be okay. Make yourself your priority, because you can't, as a woman, help anyone if you don't help yourself. Please put the mask on you first. Okay. The reality is women live longer than men. We make less, and we spend a lot of our years caregiving. So if we don't look out for ourselves, who will?
That was definitely a drop the mic moment. Speakeasy podcast listeners, now you guys have known that I've shared some of the blunders, in this journey. And as a business owner, none of us were prepared for what 2020 had to offer. I feel like, I did a message where I was telling people, I said, we got punched in the mouth, guys. Like, really, we got punched in the mouth, the nose, the gut. But it doesn't mean that it's the end. You may have gotten knocked to the mat, but it wasn't a knockout. And the way that you make it that it's not a knockout is that you connect with the right people, you have the right conversations, and you take a real hard look at where I am right now so I can get up. And, that's the famous quote, if I can look up, then I can get up. Well,
Absolutely.
look up. And so we can get up. So, Jackie, let them know how they can reach out to you for more information and where they can find you at online.
Yeah, I was just going to add, because I thought what you said was beautiful. I'm 23 years in business, and I'm still a student of my business. Sometimes I'm a Harvard grad of my business. Sometimes I'm the new kid, and sometimes I'm the flunky. That's just the reality of being a business owner. You're always on some continuum of that, and every business owner should know you're on this continual journey, and life's going to throw you curveballs, which is why at the end of the day, don't take it personally. Just look at what's the next step. Don't blame yourself. Don't shame yourself. Just move forward and plan for the future that you want to see happen. I usually recommend people think of their future in 1, 3, and 5 year increments. What do you want the next 12 months to look like? What are the critical moves that you need to make? And as you said, it's all about those conversations with the right people. Your net worth is all about your network. It's about looking intimately at your numbers. And it's also being passionate about the future you want to create. So I just wanted to leave that with your listeners. If they're interested in learning more about me, I have a website, askjackie.ca, askjackie.ca. They can certainly hit me up there. I offer half an hour financial counseling, giving people financial strategies on how they can improve and build their financial IQ.
Great. Oh my goodness, guys, this has been a great episode. I hope you took notes. If not, make sure that you go back, share it out. Make sure that you go back, write some things down. Why? Because guess what? We're all about taking action here. And thank you for taking action and listening in on this episode. Why? Because if there were no Speak Easy podcast listeners, there'd be no Speak Easy podcast show. So with that, we say we appreciate you guys. Come join the conversation, bit.ly/World Voice Community. We would definitely love your feedback and to know what you're doing when it comes to your financial planning. With that being said, I'll Space Puzzle here. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.
Bye now.